Let's see. Okay.
I think this topic is like my favorite topic around video marketing. It's what most people don't talk about.
Lift a few weights, I take it.
It's born like this.
Awesome.
Born like this.
Yeah, I work out. I work out.
Nice.
You know, I'm actually kind of dragging this morning. Usually I work out every morning, just kind of as a habit. I'm sure you do too. And this morning I didn't because
Throws your whole day off.
it throws your whole day off.
12-1 and then start fighting all the broccoli head 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds in our.
Broccoli head. Thank you.
And the tripods, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that you're recording yourself, but don't block everything.
Sure. No, it's a big problem right now.
Post-COVID, yeah, post-COVID. It's like the haircut where they.
Yeah.
All the young kids where they faded up here and then they look like they had a broccoli.
Yeah, my stepsons are doing that.
Yeah.
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 I was embarrassed to ask them.
Oh, no,
Good.
I mean, hey, I'm not trying to be mean, but I've yet to see one that's respectful or understands like etiquette and stuff when you're in there. It's just a lost thing.
Twice now, it's been issues where there's like 12 of them. They look the exact same. And they're right next to me laughing. One guy almost like sat down on my lap. I'm like, whoa.
I know, and it's like, you want me to turn green? I don't want to turn green here. This is why I go here, so I don't turn green. I
Right.
don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. So, yeah, so I have two stepsons who also have that ridiculous haircut. And I gave them one hell of a sales pitch on why not to.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it anyways. Because their entire, they play lacrosse.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
for their team, they're all their
in.
team.
It's the in haircut.
It
right
is,
now.
in the high socks and the Crocs. It's like, do something original. They're like, no, we'll just do what all of our friends are doing.
As long as they don't get in trouble and that's all they're doing.
Yeah, they
that's
have
all that
great
matters.
grades.
That's all that matters.
Straight A's. I
That's
was like,
funny.
you did better than me, so
Yeah.
maybe I can learn something from you. All right. We ready to rock? Yeah, we're good? Okay. I used to do this all the time, and I would start off by asking this question. Who here knows who I am? Who has seen me on video? What's going on? Good. And then I'll go into something like this. Now, this topic right here, how to overcome the three main insecurities of being on camera, I think is like the most important topic. Because if we can get over that speed bump, it would change your game. It would change everything. And I say that by prefacing this. I grew up with a debilitating stuttering problem. Like I couldn't even open my mouth without stuttering. But I still thought very highly of myself. I read, I had tons of confidence, but I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't answer questions in class. I couldn't do a lot of things because I had this insecurity about me stuttering in front of people, particularly pretty girls. And then I realized that due to my lack of turning in homework on time, my teacher said, if you could articulate that you understand the subject matter, I'll give you a high grade. And so I stood up in front of class and I articulated as well as I possibly could, and I got a standing ovation. The teacher said, that's how I'm gonna start measuring your ability. And then by the end of graduating high school, I was asked to give all the big speeches. And my teacher said, whatever you do in life, public speaking should be a huge part of it. Now, that doesn't mean that I overcame that insecurity. What it does mean, though, is I developed some techniques and some skills that you probably haven't had to develop because you don't have that insecurity. And so I think the biggest misconception that people have of me is that I have a natural skill at speaking. That's not true. It's just I think about it differently. Most people have a an idea of what they want to say, and then they say it, and then it doesn't come out very well, and they just think that they're not a very good speaker. For me, I think through everything I say, and I break it down into story blocks so I can eloquently break it down, intro, body, and end, before I even open my mouth. So it sounds like I'm super duper smart, but in reality, it's just well thought out. And if you do that on video better than most other people, people are going to make certain assumption about you. And that's why doing this in real estate is so important, because people need to trust you with the biggest investment they've ever made. And if you can articulate a relatively complex concept in a simple way in a 90-second video, you're going to stand out, especially in this market. If you go to New York, you go to California, video is like a no-brainer. It's like a no duh. Like, you're not even in the game if you're not doing videos every single day. And if you watch the trend on social media, it's not, listen, we sell video and we sell a lot of it. So I should be trying to sell you that. But in reality, if you have a cell phone, you don't need all the big production. You just need to have the ability to articulate and solve problems by answering those tough questions. So let's jump into it. Who knows the number one fear in the world? The number one fear in the world. What is it? No.
I think public speaking.
Glossophobia,
Glossophobia.
which is the Greek word for the fear of speaking in public. And if that's true, I would say that the second would be speaking on video, right? Because guys, I can't tell you how many of my clients, multimillionaires, guys with billboards, big teams, they show up to video shoots super confident, and I tell them, don't approach it that way, because speaking on camera is way different than speaking in front of your sales team or speaking in front of an audience. It's way different. And oftentimes they will shrink if you don't go into it with the right mindset. By shrink, I mean, if you're talking to an audience, I can measure how well I'm doing by your body language, if you're looking at me, and if you're smiling and shaking your head. With a camera, it's a total mental game. You have to lift yourself up mentally and have the ability to carry yourself through that video, or else it's just not going to go well. So according to the all-knowing ChatGPT, it says that many people fear speaking in public or in front of an audience more than common fears such as heights or even death. They fear looking silly in front of their peers more than they fear death. That's a bit extreme, right? I mean, death. But how true is that? Like, how often have you not said something in front of a group that you have respect for because you thought maybe you wouldn't have the ability to articulate it well enough and you might make yourself look silly? I've been there a bunch of times. So this is all about how do you overcome that? And in a way, it's kind of silly to say you'd rather die than look silly. But in reality, when it comes to video marketing, you launching a video marketing campaign, you kind of have to die of the old self to become your new self, the braver self. And I call that you 2.0. And here's something else, guys. It's so true. And just recently, I mean, I've been watching podcasts and all that stuff for a long time, but Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, all of these guys are saying, especially right now in 2024, where short form content is such a big thing, your ability to speak well on camera is probably the most valuable asset there is, more than anything else. So it's not even so much all of the expensive equipment and the editing and following trends. The most important thing is your ability to get comfortable being yourself, being authentic on camera. Who here has tried to do video? Let's just say at least a dozen, hold on a second. Show of hands, at least a dozen videos in which you thought through it, you chose an outfit, you're super excited about it, you filmed it, and you never showed a single soul because you hated the way you look and sound. Usually if I ask that question, everyone raises their hands. For me, it's thousands probably, because I've done so many videos. Like literally, I thought I crushed it, and I look at them, that's terrible. How many of you have ever heard someone give you negative constructive feedback on your videos? How many of you? Show of hands. And like, what was it exactly? If you are brave enough to say.
I think for me, it was that I was using like a teleprompter.
Yep.
That you could tell.
Yep, okay,
Tell the teleprompter, right? Even though it was like a hidden one.
sure.
It's like it's
So you
obvious,
think?
but it did not turn out the way I thought. It was
Sure,
going.
of course.
Just constantly looking down
Okay,
and down all the time
Yep.
talking.
Yep.
Looking at my notes.
who else?
Filler words.
Filler words. Okay. Excellent, excellent.
look fat.
You look fat.
Thank you, Tony. Man, I'll take it.
All right.
Angle.
Now, on the other end of the spectrum, who here has done videos and you got positive feedback? And what was it?
Well, it was just positive.
Like,
For me, it was more the information I was providing.
okay,
They
great.
thought, they appreciated it.
awesome.
Yeah, love the information.
Information, great. And would you say that the feedback that you've received has been predominantly positive versus negative, or predominantly negative versus positive? Mostly positive, okay. That being said, why aren't you guys making content right now?
During class.
Just in, your career, because I'm sure that you're all here because you know that you should be doing more content. The whole world's saying that. So why aren't we? Just
Takes time.
takes time. It does take time. It does take a lot of time. Others,
Coming up with content.
content ideas.
Mhm.
Okay,
Relevance.
relevance. But on the subject of today, who here struggles with insecurities for being on camera? There it is. That's the reality. Because I work with some of the best agents in the country, some of the best lenders, some of the best companies in general. And once I boil it all down, their number one issue is not budget, it's not time. It's none of those things. It's, I don't want to look stupid. Because I'm already doing well. I'm already doing well. And if this doesn't go well, then Jeremy, I can say I don't need you because I don't. But I do want to level up. So if I'm going to level up, I need to feel good about the person I'm watching on the screen or on my phone. And so in order for us to be in business, that has to be our skill set. It's not the filming, it's not the camera equipment, it's not the editing. It's that we are very, very good at helping people become themselves on camera. That's the magic. It's no longer about the fancy clothes. It's not even about the fancy house. It's about how comfortable you look on camera, because that is the number one most infectious thing. If you're seeing someone talk on camera, especially if their shirt's not perfect and their hair's not perfect, like I'm the most attracted to those people who look like they're just holding a cell phone talking off the cuff, and they can talk for 90 seconds without any issue whatsoever, especially if they seem like they're distracted by the background. It's like, wow, like you're just that good at what you do. You can just talk like that. That's the skill set I want to help you guys build. So just really quick, before I actually jump into the real presentation, I'm trying to set the tone right now, is I want to tell you a story. I was asked to do a big speaking gig, and everyone there was a multi-millionaire who had a big brand, was already making millions of dollars. People like Thatch Wynn, people like Jason Gosser, people like, so everyone there was just a big dog, and I was asked to speak. And there was 300 people who were at this event. It was at the Snoqualmie Falls Golf Course. 300 people, invite only, and I was the youngest and brokest person on stage. And I spent a week preparing for this presentation. I wrote a 4-page presentation verbatim, and before me, all these guys got on stage. They had no slide deck, they had no notes. They're running up and down stage. They're having the time of their life. And I was going to be stuck to this podium giving a speech. I got up there, and the host of the event gave me this huge introduction because nobody knew who I was. It made me sound like I was Godzilla, right? Like, this is the biggest thing ever. You guys are, you're honored just to even be in his presence. And I'm shaking in my boots, and I get up there and I start doing exactly what you're not supposed to do, which is reading my speech my speech verbatim. And I'm looking down at my script. My girlfriend's right there, glowing eyes, looking at me like I'm doing so well. And I just want to run off the stage. And my whole speech is about overcoming fear. And I just want to run. Like I legitimately just want to run off stage. And then I told the audience, I am afraid. I've never talked to this many people in my life. I was going to recite this. I blacked out. I'm like super scared. Do you mind if I just tell you 3 stories that are the backbone of this thing? And I was like, yeah, man, you got it. Do it. So I forget about my script. I back away from the podium and I start telling my story. And I become Jeremy. I'm laughing, I'm in the crowd, I'm touching people, I'm like running across the stage. Long story short, I got a standing ovation, and that was the launch of my speaking career. I was asked to speak at every major real estate conference in Washington State for several years after that. So that's all about authenticity. If you can get yourself into a place where you can comfortably be yourself and forget that you're being judged and really just focus on trying to add value, that's a game changer. So, top 3 insecurities about speaking on camera. The number 1 is appearance and presentation. Who can resonate with that? We're always looking at ourselves before we start filming. We're always concerned about how we look. And it's true. Aesthetics are important. But the most important thing, the most attractive thing there is about your appearance is your confidence level, especially on camera. Starting out, going back to my old videos, I was always in a suit. I was always trying to impress you, always. The background, the location, I was going to long lengths to try to impress you. But in reality, it's not those things. And just to break down the science of it, like the things that we're concerned about are, yes, our appearance, our facial expressions, our body language. But here's the deal. We do well in person. Like you do well just in a meeting with a client, right? So do you, so do you, so do you. That's why we're in business. But the issue is the moment that we get on camera, we forget how to be ourselves and we start trying to be someone else that we're not used to being. And therefore we suck at that because we have no experience at it. So the more that you're willing to just lean in and just be yourself and focus on adding value, that goes away. So here's just a few tips. For me, I'm probably shiny right now, right? Like my skin, my face, it's probably super shiny, right?
You're glowing.
Glowing. Well, it doesn't look that way if I have bright lights on me or something like that. It looks like I'm soaked in butter. So if you have that issue, you want to mat yourself. And this is for guys, this is a great product here. If you have a 5 head like me, you're going to want to use something like this to dull it. Women, less is more, less makeup. Now, I used to have a full-blown gal that would come out on my shoots and do makeup. And the number 1 thing that she would do is she would have them come up, show up, fresh faced, and she would apply very little makeup. Because if you have the right lighting, all that will handle itself. So don't do too much makeup. And then the other thing is clothes. Wear solids. Oftentimes people want to wear the normal stuff that they usually wear to the office, which is like bright colors or patterns. You want to stay away from that and wear solids. People aren't focused necessarily on what you're wearing. They're focused on how you're carrying yourself. And so if you can minimize those things and just focus on your delivery, that's going to be huge. Speaking confidently. I ask clients this all the time. When you meet with a client, are you reading from a script? You're like, no. How weird would it be if you're like, yo, hello, Mr. Johnson, let me grab my script. No, that's first. Sarah, here you are. And you read from a script. How ridiculous would that be? So I tell my clients all the time, like, get off the teleprompter. I call it training wheels. There's nothing cool about it. Like, unless you're a trained actor, it's going to look like you're reading from a teleprompter. You're not going to have the normal juice, the normal pizzazz, the normal charisma that you would normally have if you're reading from a screen. You're going to be like this, saying words on the screen. And it's going to look and feel that way. And for me, creating content isn't necessarily about creating a beautiful video. For now, like that's easy for us. The hard part is, how do I get you to be you on video? And video shouldn't be about creating content. It should be influencing people at scale. So here's a really simple thing. If you yourself aren't experiencing positive emotions while you're on camera, and if emotions and energy is 100% transferable through video, like it is in this room, that's how you know if you're doing a good job or not, is how you feel. Because if I'm crushing it on camera, I know it, I love it, and I want more of it. If I don't do well, I can feel it, and that's going to transition and transfer through camera. So get off the scripts and off of the teleprompter. And the best way to do that is to use a technique called story blocks. And I should be charging you guys for this. Dead serious. Every statement everything we say on a day-to-day basis has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you can make a promise, that should be your intro statement. Add value in the middle, and then conclude that. 30, 60, 90 seconds in your videos, that is the most impressive thing. It's not the editing, it's not your outfit, it's not your background. It's how well you articulate your value. Say why they're going to watch the video, give them that information, and then end your video. It's powerful stuff. And so for me and for us, we usually go out on a video shoot, and our clients pay us thousands of dollars every single month. On the average video shoot, we get anywhere between 10 to 20 videos in 3 to 5 hours. How is that possible? I mean, every single month with every single client. And we do that because we use trigger questions. I dissect your life to figure out what's happening inside your life, not trying to follow trends, not trying to manufacture things. Like what's actually happening inside your life? Who did you help this month? Who are you trying to help? What's going on inside your business right now? And then I'll create a trigger question based on that to ask you that question off camera, and then have you answer it to the camera. Because it's your life, it's your story. Why should you have to manufacture stuff to talk about? You're in business. And so by me asking a few questions in a 10-minute conversation, I can usually come up with about 30, 40 topics for you that you're the master of because it's your life. And then from there, it's just a matter of me coaching you on how to start that video. Story blocks. So that's speaking confidently. And then judgment and perception. The first time I was on a professional video shoot was for a show I hosted called The Moment. Who here is familiar with that? It was a podcast I launched. I eventually wound up doing a live version of it at the Act Theater. We almost sold 400 tickets. John L. Scott was a part of that. And I had 6 people lined up on the first interview. I've never been on camera before in that regard. I had my girlfriend there, my branch manager there. There's like 20 people there. And I realized I'm really good at organizing a video shoot, but now I have to be a show host. I have to remember their name, the company they're with, how many deals they closed, their accolades, and seem like I'm not scared, and I'm super scared. So how do I do this? And so I went back into the bathroom and I asked myself the same 3 questions I ask myself every single time. Jeremy, do you want to do this? Yeah, I do. Jeremy, do you think that you can do this? Yeah, I do. Well, then get out there and do it. And oftentimes, if you just go into a video shoot and you just get going, it's probably not going to go well. Like there's some self-talk that you have to prepare yourself mentally for what you're about to do. Because if not, the mind monsters will definitely be attacking you. God, you look dumb. You're fat. Your face is oily, Jeremy. You should have wiped off all the oil. And so if you can overcome those things before you jump on camera, because I call this riding the wave. If you can ride the wave, meaning the first 5 to 7 seconds, guys, is so important. If you can get yourself into the feeling that you're doing a great job, that's going to compound into the next video and the next video and the next video. But most people don't do the necessary preparation to where their first 2 or 3 videos are terrible starts. And then what happens? You quit. How many times have you done that? You set aside time to shoot content. You had great ideas. You had your outfit laid out. And then the first 2 didn't go so well and you quit. Right? All of us. All right. So I would like to dive deeper into a few of these things. Who here struggles with lighting? What are you currently using for lighting?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Are you familiar with how to achieve the best natural light?
No.
Okay. So for instance, I would never film a video like this. Why? Because it has natural light coming here. I want to turn towards the natural light because I'm going to look the best with natural light. If you don't do that, what happens is it's going to cast shadows on your face and it's going to make your face look nothing like it actually looks like. So oftentimes people just make the assumption, I've heard this so many times, usually from older white guys, is that I have a face for radio. The first time I heard that, I was like, oh no, bro, you don't. You just don't know how to achieve the best look. And so if you film from here, you're gonna look fantastic versus if you film from here. And if you film from here, it's gonna look even worse because now you have this massive cast of a shadow on your side, making your features look distorted. That's super important.
So are you saying that the camera should be?
Right.
I
Watch
should be
this.
This way, and the camera's over here.
Watch this. I'll do a demo for you. It's gonna blow your mind.
Blow it.
Blow Watch this. So that's that one.
That's the first,
That's the first one, natural light, and that's that one,
you got the shadow.
right?
Go back, go back. Yeah,
Even light.
yeah,
And that's,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
the rock.
Yeah, it
versus-
did. I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Big difference, big
Big
difference.
difference.
So something like that, and usually if you're filming yourself, because we are self-conscious, we look at ourselves first, right?
Mhm.
So if you look at yourself, you're like, oh, I'm looking good. You're gonna do good. If you feel good, you do good. And in sales, we know that, right?
Right.
But if you feel like you don't look very good, you're like, God, I don't even want to do this anymore. Because even if I crush it, I don't want to show it to anyone. Let's be real. All right, so that's that. The next one, this is huge. An ounce of pre-production. Write this down, write this down. An ounce of pre-production is worth a pound in post. Who knows what that means?
It means you do it before you shoot.
That's right.
Get all your, everything set up properly. Color correction, everything you can, you need to do that versus in post, you're trying to mess with your white balance,
Yeah.
your focus, your cropping, it's just a lot more work after.
And that's the advanced version of it. But the simple version is you want to think it all the way through before you actually shoot and then shoot. Because if you just go into it, like, oh, I have a great idea. From a great idea to a great way to articulate it, there's miles in between that. And oftentimes people think, oh, I have a good idea, so I should be able to articulate it. No, that's why presidents are presidents. That's why CEOs are CEOs, because they have the best ability to articulate complicated topics in a concise, simple way. That's what makes a leader. And if you can do that, and that takes practice, it's some people have more talent than others, but more often than not, that takes practice. And the more that you do this, these reps, take a complex idea, break it down into a video, figure out how to create your intros, your body and your end. If you focus on doing that, guys, in the next year or so, you're going to be miles ahead of everybody else when it comes to creating content. Because at any point in time, you can just pull out your phone and just do something awesome. That's really, really impressive to your clientele. Here's something else. When people see you on camera and you're delivering with power, emphasis, and confidence before they meet with you, and they watch videos before they meet with you, they are sold. I'd say I'm probably about 10 for 10 right now in sales now. If somebody reaches out and say, I want to talk to you about video marketing, and they go to meet with me, I know that they're going to go onto Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And if they meet with me, they already have a relationship with me. And that relationship is, I like you. So their question isn't about pricing. It's not about, can you do this? It's about, when can we do this? That's the value of video marketing. It's not necessarily that you're going to sell people directly from the videos. It's that you are greasing the wheels. They've already made a conscious decision to work with you. That's the power of it. All right. Who here hates the way they sound? I hear this all the time. You do. Talk to me. I love your voice. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I hear from people is, God, I hate the way I sound. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, I like your voice. That's weird. So I started doing this. I started to say the things I was going to say, but I only wanted to record myself. Don't worry about how you look initially. This is again, I should be charging you twice for this. This is not 2 bills you owe me. Have your phone, put the phone down, use video, but have it down. Don't even worry about how you look. You can be naked as far as I'm concerned. But deliver your video as if no one else is going to hear it. Just be yourself. Be the version of you that you want to be. Be the 2.0 version and listen to it. Really, really listen to it. Dissect it. Figure out what you hate, because there's going to be stuff that you hate. And listen to stuff that you really like about yourself and become more of that version. No one told me to do this, but I started doing this for myself because I was doing podcasting. And sometimes I would say stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's the guy I want to be. And other stuff, I'm like, I didn't sound very confident. I didn't say that word very well. And here's another tip. If you watch newscasters, you'll notice that they talk big. Hello, this is Jeramy Poole from Fox News. Versus that would be very weird if I talk like that in person, right? So most of us talk like this, like our mouths are like barely open. If you talk like this on camera, you're going to look not very smart, number one, and you're going to have a hard time articulating complex things. And you'll find yourself not breathing properly, and just your overall demeanor isn't going to be very attractive. So when you're on camera, talk bigger. So if you watch guys like Gary Vee, Alex Hormozy, Neil Dingra, they all talk big. And that's a huge advantage, especially when you start off a video, is that you set the tone that you are the authority, rather than it looks like you're trying to run from the camera. And as somebody who does this professionally, I can see instantaneously, do you have swagger or do you not have swagger? Who here wants swagger on camera? Start the video off with swagger. And one way I do this for me is I lean in. So I start here, I smile, and then I lean in. I set the tone for me that I'm the man, and that I'm going to crush this thing. Or else the mind monster is going to take over, and it's going to tell you terrible things about yourself. And oftentimes that mind monster wins. And so you have to overcome that mind monster. Breathing. Who here has like a breathing exercise before they jump on camera or on stage? Me, I have to have one because I will probably stutter. I have so much I want to say to you that unless I get that under control, it'll just like, and I won't say anything and I'll be embarrassed. So I have to take a few deep breaths to sort of calm myself down, take control, and then I start my talk. If you just rush into it, rushing, more cases than not, is going to end to a failed video. So take some big, deep breaths. Tell yourself some good things about yourself. Master the first 5 to 7 seconds in your head. It should be like a rhythm. Da, 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 da. If you listen to Obama, for instance, he talks a lot like this. And when you do that, it will cause people to hold on to every word, causing them to feel like they trust you and you're thought-provoking. So when I started speaking in public, because I was so concerned about stuttering, and maybe because I liked Obama, people would tell me, you sound just like Barack Obama. And I'm like, no, I don't sound like Barack Obama. It's only when I'm on stage, because when I'm on stage, I guess that Obamaism comes out. But so I actually created a whole video of me speaking like Obama. I had like the flag, and it was cool. Anyways, I'll have to show it to you guys sometime. All right. Who here thinks that they have to be perfect and polished in order for their videos to be super effective? I did. Man. So here's a quick little tidbit. I was the marketing director on the side for one of the fastest growing, largest real estate hedge funds in America. They hired me to do all of their marketing. They were trying to raise an additional $250 million, and they hired me to create their ad campaign for them on LinkedIn. Initially, they were paying me an obscene amount of money per video shoot to achieve the look they were wanting, which was a very polished look. After going to a few of their company parties, I realized that their average investor came from old money and was investing on average $1 million per person, large sums of money. And these people drove up in Ford Explorers and Ford Tauruses and Honda Accords, definitely not what I was used to or expecting. My car was nicer than all of their car, and I'm not rich. So then I came back to the CEO and I said, as your marketing director, I want to create the next campaign using my cell phone. I'm like, what? We pay you this price per video shoot. On this next shoot, it's on me. I just want to try something. So I filmed the CEO talking about them closing a $78 million transaction using my cell phone. And I filmed it in such a way that his face would be cut off and my camera would be tilted to make it seem like an amateur was filming it. So the investor had a sense that they were just a fly on the wall, that it wasn't an ad. It wasn't marketing. You just got an opportunity to see what happens inside this office. And that was the best, most effective ad campaign I did for them. And it changed my perception of how I viewed marketing forever. And after that period of time, I almost exclusively film with this for my clients. So if you can get yourself into a situation where you forget that you're trying to impress people and just focus on adding value, don't even worry about girls. Listen, this is powerful. Who here knows who Mel Robbins is? Mel Robbins. If you watch her evolution towards fame and fortune, she started off super polished, beautiful, beautiful earrings, matching power dress, and then she evolved into purposely filming herself, showing her flaws, showing the wrinkles in her neck, showing not wearing makeup, because she realized that the more that her audience resonates with her, which are typically career-driven, focused, success-driven women, that was her target audience. The more that she allowed them to see her as a normal person and not this person who's worth half $500 million, the more attractive she was to that audience. So think about who your target clientele is and let them fill you. Don't be so focused on trying to be impressive to them. What's super impressive is try to come across as if you can care less. I know that sounds crazy, but come across like you can care less. Who here has been to a party or been to an environment with a person who walks in as if they can care less is just like so intoxicating? It's always been that way. It's always been that way. The person, and I'll just say guys versus girls, the guy who acts like he cares the least usually gets all the girls. That's usually how it works. And for girls with guys as well. Because if you have that confident demeanor about yourself, especially on camera, because it's so hard to achieve, you're going to be the most attractive to the people on the other side. Who here knows who Ty Lopez is? He's probably one of the most famous marketers out there. You know who he is. He's famous for filming huge campaigns using his cell phone, typically oily, typically with his hair undone. And he's able to talk off the cuff about a subject matter as if he just grabbed his phone and started filming. The likelihood that that's not the case, but he's very well spoken. He's able to articulate complex things in simple ways to make you feel as if you can do it too, and has built a $1 billion empire. Next thing. This is a big one. Judgment and perception. Oftentimes we don't do well on camera because we assume that we're being judged, and we are. Accept it, move forward. We are judgeaholics. You're judging me, I'm judging you. It's just the way it is. If you can try to forget that for a moment and just try to focus on adding value, like literally coming up here, you know, I know that I'm gonna be talking in front of a group, so I'm a little bit nervous. And then I said to myself, just help them. You know some stuff that they don't about this thing. Just help them. Do your best to help them. And all of my anxiety washed away. Because I do this for a living and I love it. And I know if you guys are willing to be yourself on camera, as simple as that is, it's not a simple thing to do. Well, I should say it's not an easy thing to do. It's a simple thing to do. There's simple things that you can do that would significantly improve how you show up on camera. Because the reason why your friends and your family love you so much is because you're willing to get naked with them. Meaning you're willing to put your guard down and just be yourself. And the sooner that you can do that on camera, the more attractive you're going to be. So as a quick recap here, before I have you guys ask questions, is appearance and presentation. It's not about looking perfect, but feeling good in front of the camera. In closing, I would say that on that subject. Don't worry about having the perfect background. It honestly doesn't matter. And in fact, the more impressive you are at communicating your value, the less impressive your background can be. Because if I can give a talk using this window with a simple background and I'm crushing it and I'm bringing energy to my subject matter, that's going to be super attractive. Versus for me now, if it looks like you're trying to impress me, that's not impressive. Because I know what it takes. And I know that you put some thought into that and it took some time. So I would prefer you bring me value in a very dull, plain background. Because it looks like you're just that good. With appearances, solid colors, no patterns, no bright colors, unless you're in that kind of environment, where that makes sense. Guys, if you're oily like me, liquid powder will definitely shine you. And then to increase your mental capacity, this is a talking tool, Alpha Brain. I take this stuff every day. When I'm filming with clients, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll get an understanding of the subject matter. And then I'll even say their name and their company name, and I'll be on camera and let them be on the other side of the camera and watch me. And they're like, well, I'm just gonna hire you to do it. And I said, well, can't do that. But Alpha Brain, this will help you have clarity and much better memory. And I use this every day and I have been for a long time. Speaking naturally, get your story blocks now. Don't worry about scripts. Do not worry about scripts. Worry about topics. Worry about Tom. Worry about the person that you just helped and embody that emotional feeling of you helping them and tell that story. This is how I helped Sarah, who I closed last week. Then tell that story. Know where you're going to end that story and end. Who here starts off a video, starts going pretty well, and then you keep going, and then you don't know where to land, and then it becomes very, very awkward. This is where story blocks comes in. Decide where you're going to start there, say a few topics, and then end. So, and that's how we knock out 10, 15, 20 videos with each shoot. And then practice with your phone. I promise you guys, if you overcome how you sound and you overcome how you will articulate your story without worrying about how you look, just put your phone down, focus on how you sound. That's going to relieve you of so much of the mind monsters that's happening inside your head. And who knows what I'm talking about when I say mind monsters? That's the biggest thing. It's you versus you. So if you can start to minimize how you look, find natural light, what you're going to say, don't worry about trying to memorize everything like that. Pros don't do that. No one that you see on video on a consistent basis does that. They find a topic that gets them excited. They figure out just how they're going to start and just how they're going to end. And typically, oftentimes, if I'm on camera, I have no idea what I'm even going to be saying in the middle, but it's my story. And so if I was talking to you about my story, I would have no problem articulating for 12 hours straight. You could do it too. You do it too. It's just a matter of doing it on camera. We put ourselves in these boxes like we're supposed to memorize verbatim. Don't do that because it's going to end in failure. And I think finally, the most important thing is being vulnerable. Telling stories, oftentimes about things that didn't go so well. Telling stories about the things that you had to overcome and letting people have a window into who you really are. If you really want to go big on social media, don't just view it as it's a marketing platform. See it as a way that people can get a digital reflection of who you really are. And that means allowing your hair to come down and just be yourself and share your life with people through telling stories. I have found that to be the most effective way to build your brand and build your business because it's all about trust. And it's crazy what happens when you start doing that because you start seeing people at Whole Foods and like, hey, how is that going? Or I saw you did this. It's very, very interesting because we want to get people to start consuming our content, not as marketing, but just because they are genuinely interested in you and your business. Well, that being said, what kind of questions do you guys have?
When doing pictures outside or videos outside to get the right lighting, what is your suggestion for that?
My suggestion is this, it's a great question. Do this. Grab your phone, hold it up and start to turn. And then find where you look the best. I do that every single time. People are like, what are you doing? And then I take the picture like, oh, I never looked that good. So it's just a matter of finding the right light. And if you just lift it up and start to turn slowly, you'll find like where the shadows are and where it's just flat, nice flattering look.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Who here use a ring light? Don't do that.
I have one.
Use it as a side light to build.
Okay, okay. What kind of light do you use as like a head-on light, or do you not use one?
Usually I'm on a team, so I'm not the.
Oh, okay.
camera.
Oh, perfect.
So my subject usually just do our informal ones in our office.
Yeah.
With the blinds closed. It's not ideal. It's like pretty rough.
Okay.
But, so I'm just using like the overhead fluorescent light with some sort of artificial light as kind of a fill.
Got it. Yeah. Lighting it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And so if you can't find natural light, that's just pouring it on your face, you're gonna wanna use some kind of a softbox lighting. And if you can invest, $200-300 in a nice softbox light, it's gonna go a long way, because if you don't feel like you look good and you feel good about how you look on camera, you're just not gonna do it. And so like, that's the biggest thing here, is getting you into a place where you can remove those speed bumps. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, we do have them here. We have 4 sets of lights, so if anyone wants to use them.
Yeah.
And so with the softbox lights, are they in front, side, back? How do you use them?
I do like a nice little angle. And it just depends on my room space, but sometimes just in front, sometimes just slightly off. But you wanna just find it to where it looks the best.
You don't want it totally flat. If it's
No.
like directly in front of you.
Right.
You're not gonna have any facial features.
Yeah, it's gonna wipe you out.
That's a little bit of shadows, but not so much contrast
Mhm.
that it's black and white, like.
Okay.
And it just depends on where you're at. Like, we would set up the lights differently if we're in this room, because we have all this natural light coming in. And Josh might have some more
I
information on
was
that.
asking if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you're looking at a light source, bigger is better. You can do this thing with women with double diffusion. Basically, you have your light a little farther away, and then you can put up a big white sheet. And that makes it almost wrap around the subject, which is always a good thing. Makes your features look a little less harsh. And so that could be a good one.
Is the sheet in front of the light, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and then, so when you have more paler tones, you
Right.
can go more daylight with darker. For example, Jeremy, I'll go a little warmer,
Mhm.
right? That way it kind of brings out that color in him, and then it doesn't leave him ever purple. So, small things.
Yes, so there's lots to know
Mhm.
on this stuff, but we want to try to minimize all of those things. Any other questions?
Best colors for cameras,
I'm sorry?
best color to wear.
Black always looks good. Black, avoid white, which is funny because I was gonna wear all white today. Usually I wear gym clothes, so I have this really nice gym outfit I just got. So I was gonna wear that for you guys today, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna say not to wear white, so it'll be funny if I wore all white. Black, solid colors, dark blue, greens, natural, neutral colors like she's wearing, like that would be the ideal outfit right there. What she's wearing.
Oh, way to go.
Don't do patterns, so I would definitely ask you to change shirts, just because that's gonna create a situation where it looks like the lines are blurring. White is gonna make your body look bigger. Here's something else, you probably heard this, that the camera adds 10 pounds to you, right? We probably all heard that,
Mhm.
but here's the bigger truth, the camera reduces your charisma, I say, by at least 25%. Enough is never enough. If you talk like this on camera, you're gonna look sad and depressed. Versus you want to have like that show host demeanor, or you want to be talking about, I would say this, you want to match your tonality with the energy and the subject. So oftentimes people will just think, well, I'm creating content. That's not the goal. Creating content was never the goal. The goal is to influence people. And so if you aren't under the influence, this is big. If you aren't under the emotional influence, positive emotions, before and during that video, the chance of you influencing anyone is like 0. So stay in your lane. Only talk about things that you know like the back of your hand. People always ask me, like, Jeremy, you look and sound like you know exactly what you're talking about on every single video. Yeah, because I know it like the back of my hand. I'm not the camera operator. I can't operate a camera, but I have guys on the team like Josh who understand it way more than me. So if you ask me about the specs of the camera, I'm going to say, Josh, can you answer that question? That's not my lane. My lane is directing and vision casting and management and all of those things. And so it pains me when I see people, because they see a trend or they see other people talking about a certain thing and it's obvious you don't understand it that well. And they're trying to explain it as if showing up on camera and saying words to the camera lens is the goal. That's not the goal. The goal is to influence people. And there's a ton of topics within your lane that you know very, very well, that you can talk and it looks like you're smiling from your eyes, where people are, impacted by that. Go ahead.
Back to the storybook.
Ah.
You kind of went fast on that.
Story blocking.
Story blocking, and I
Yes,
do have story block, I just can't read.
yes. If I had who has a pen and paper, I can paint this for you real quick.
I have one piece of paper, so that won't.
Yeah, I think this will help you. Every good story has an arc. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and has an end. So it should kind of start off kind of slow, create intrigue. Then you should do a great job on delivering what that story is. And then you should follow up with proof. In terms of, so plan, presentation, proof. Every video should be that way. The 3 Ps. And so what happens is people get up here and then they want to continue and then they crash rather than following your plan. Plan, presentation, proof.
But then how do you present it?
Mhm.
You know, when you say, you know, your storybook, you have your beginning, middle.
Story
end,
blocking.
Or story block, I'm sorry. I just want to say book. So you have your story block, beginning, middle, end. I get the concept, but then how do you start it
Great question.
so that I'm comfortable? Is it,
Okay, so let's do a little experiment here. What would be a video that you'd want to do a video on? And I'll give you a video back, exactly how I would do it.
a video, I want to do a video on, actually right now is on HELOC.
HELOC.
Mhm.
Okay, and what about a HELOC?
What I would want to share about HELOCs is the importance of knowing that when you receive, or when you do a HELOC, the payment plan.
Mhm.
And that's because I just came across this where, you know, when you get a HELOC, it's not like a regular mortgage.
Right.
It, when you have a mortgage,
Right.
you pay into principal and
Okay.
interest. With the HELOC, you only pay into interest.
Right, okay, great.
So,
Great, so the intro block, the first block is just to create intrigue. So what you could say to intro is I didn't know that most people didn't know how a HELOC worked. That's your hook.
mhm,
Then you explain it,
mhm.
and then now it's up to you to just keep it organic or to have a call to action. So if you have questions about how a HELOC works, reach out.
Right.
Or I helped Sarah get a HELOC, which allowed her to fix up her current property so then I could sell it and she was able to profit 200,000. And then we rolled those funds into her new home.
Mhm.
Also saying that you're very, very good at what you do.
Okay,
So when clients, so I break that stuff down for them and then I walk them through how to establish those 3 blocks so then they can tell their story.
okay.
But
What do you say, give you time for each?
90 seconds or less. The more concise you can be with your language, it's not that it's not that the goal is to do a short video. It's if you can help the person in a paragraph, help them with a paragraph. If it takes you 5 minutes to explain something that can be explained in 30 seconds, that just means that you don't know it that well. And so we want to be very, very concise with our language because that tells the audience that you're very intelligent and that you understand that subject. Because for me, when I'm going to buy something, I'm going to ask a few hard questions that I think is hard. And if you do a great job of articulating that to me, I'm sold. Let's go. I don't need to know everything that you know. I just need to know that you know more than me. And now I'm ready to rock. Go ahead.
Sorry. So at 90 seconds,
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Well, so 90 seconds because we want our videos, if we're going short form, to be reels.
That's
or
what I'm gonna
shorts.
ask
Yes,
you.
yes.
For that 90 seconds, are we talking short, reels or stories or
Correct.
whatever they call it out there?
So under what circumstances would a longer video be?
YouTube.
appropriate?
YouTube.
I mean,
YouTube.
but like, what do I want to be talking about? Like, I find that we try to do a video once a month with a market update.
Uh-huh.
Here's what's happening in the market.
Yep.
Here's some numbers, here are a couple stories. Tends to be like maybe 8 minutes. Usually lose people after like a minute.
Correct. So
How
a
do
great way to do that is to create an ongoing series where you develop an audience that is ready and waiting for this information. So it's not just a fluke. So doing a podcast series, something like that. For instance, we just rolled out a dialogue in which a home inspector client of mine is doing a tour walkthrough of a half-done home for a remodeler client of mine. And then they're going through the property, identifying different topics. Each of those topics are a separate reel, but then we patch all that together into a show. And now we do this every single month. And so now he gets 15 reels and the show to have on podcast, so, or on YouTube. So if you're doing this really, really well, you're using short form to bring people into your long form.
But you're filming it as a long form and then you split it up?
Macro into micro, correct.
Yeah.
So we go into it with a macro understanding of how we're gonna scope our day out. And then we chop up and repurpose that long form into shorts.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
Yeah.
starting to try to do.
Right, so for you, if you anticipate doing that monthly, that's what I would do. I would think about it macro and then figure out how do we shift this in a way towards still engaging in the short form.
Okay, so kind of have those shorter snippets in mind
In mind,
as for crafting.
absolutely. And then now you just turned one video shoot and, you know, rather than just having one video, now you have 20.
So it's kind of like their situation, how do you do to engage your audience? For example, or I didn't know that most of people don't know about vlog and then kind of cut and kind of go back this story a little bit. And she can explain that and you change angle. How do you do that to have the most engagement? Let's see.
If I understand what you're saying, it's actually a really good idea. I think if I understand what you're saying, is that you could ask the question. I didn't realize that most homeowners didn't understand how a key lock work and then turn and have another camera here.
Yeah.
And then now you answer that question and then have another camera still there. But the biggest thing is, and then tell that, so you can definitely do that. And that's actually pretty easy to do.
Do you think it helps with the engagement?
It absolutely helps because it makes it more interesting. It's the equivalent of me sitting here talking like this versus me talking like this, right? We want to emulate the human nature. If someone's interesting and they're enthusiastic about their subject matter, they're going to be using their hands, they're going to be grabbing you. Like, just think about your girlfriends telling you about the new boy in their life or whatever. They're going to act a certain way. And so we want to bring that same level of charisma and excitement and enthusiasm into our videos.
I'm gonna jump on what she's asking, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
One of the things to draw some of that interaction or action is to, when you edit your videos, again, correct me if I'm wrong, to have it where you're going in and out, doing, so that way,
Yes.
like you said, you're not
Yes.
just standing
Yes.
there,
Yes.
but then it catches their eye where all of a sudden you're close up on them.
Yep.
Or you know,
Absolutely. Yeah. So we do that on pretty much every video. There's all kinds of techniques, jump cuts, zoom ins, zoom outs is what you're referring to, that make the video more engaging, more interesting, rather than just standing there. And it also says that you put some money into it. And so it makes the perception, especially if you're going after clients, that you are a marketer. Because at the end of the day, as real estate professionals, you should be a marketer. You should be 100% have a marketer's mindset. So everything that you're doing, you should be asking yourself, what is this telling my audience about me? If they're looking at one person who's in the same market as you and their videos are polished, meaning it's more interesting to watch versus the other individual, bad lighting, doesn't speak very well. It's not gonna be a good look. So yes, all of those things matter. And if you're not an editor, which you're probably not, you should find them. So that's something that we also do as well.
your thoughts on B-roll.
Oh, it's super important, super important. It's very difficult to get by yourself, but if you have a camera crew, you should absolutely get B-roll. It helps to tell a story.
Jeremy, what's the latest trends that you're kind of seeing right now in the professional videos for real estate specifically?
Latest trends, what do you mean by that?
Just like what is becoming more and more like popular that you've seen that's kind of a new thing? Because I know like, I think the thing that's kind of like stale is the old videos where people are like driving up in their Porsche to the front of the house and the.
Do you want to know the latest trends or do you want to know what works?
What works?
How about what works?
Because as a professional marketer, been doing this for 17 years,
Yeah.
I hate that question. Because trends come and go. Trends come and go. And do you want to have people engage with your content or consume your content because it's entertaining or because they're getting value?
Value.
Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna tell you guys something that's wild, and you should also do this. The people who hire me never like my content, never comment on my content before they hire me, and even after they hire me. But once they do hire me, somehow they know everything about me. They know who I'm working with, who I'm not working with, how many videos, how many events I've hosted, but yet they never like my content. And the people who like my content and comment on my content don't pay me. And I say that because this is really important. Oftentimes, people think that likes and comments equate to money in your pocket, and it does not. It does not.
That's like, okay, I'm listening.
Go back through.
Attention.
Now, I was sitting down with someone, MBA, Harvard. She said, Jeremy, who's your target? Told her my target. She said, it's not your target. I'm like, I do this for a living, lady. And then she asked me a few questions, and then I shut up and I listened because it was clear that she knew a hell of a lot more about this than me. And what I found out, that my target, who I thought my target was not my target. That my target was generally at that time in my life was middle-aged women. So those were the people who were calling the shots, who were telling the CEO, you should look up Jeramy Poole and we should hire him. And these weren't the people who were liking and commenting on my post, but they were the people who were writing the checks. So look hard at your stuff. I guarantee you it's your friends, it's your colleagues, and they're all just clapping for it. They're not writing any checks. So don't make content for people to get more likes, because in often cases, and they usually take some time for you to season to where your clients and whatnot start to participate in the social proofing of your content. But this is really, really important. If you look at the people who like and comment on your content, they're not the people who are putting money in your pocket. Now, that being said, the people that I have the biggest impact on tend to be not so quick at liking and commenting posts, but they are definitely watching and listening. So when you start working with someone, ask them questions like, have you seen my content? Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, you can dive deeper into asking why they're not liking and commenting. But I'm telling you, every single client that hires me right now, that we have about 15 clients that we film with every single month, none of them like and comment on my content, but I talk to them every single day. And the people who like my content have never hired me and probably will never hire me. That's really, really important. So get really clear on who you're trying to make an impact on and make content for them. But to answer your question is think about who's hiring you, think about who you want to start hiring you, and think about why they're hiring you, okay? So I thought people were hiring me for a whole nother reason. It wasn't until I started getting closer with my clients and they say, Jeremy, I'm not hiring you for video production. I'm like, well, that's exactly what I do. Got confused. They said, I hire you because you help me articulate better on camera. Some of them went even as far to say is I've hired other people who are half as expensive as you. And I realized just because you have a camera and you have a few years under your belt doesn't mean that you can do this at this level. At the end of the day, I want to look good on camera, and looking good means articulate well. And if you don't have the ideas and the ability to execute on those ideas, then nothing else matters. And so with that being said, I'll leave you with this. We onboarded a luxury home builder. They specialize in like $5 to $20 million custom builds here in this market. They've never done anything on social. Both of the business owners are beautiful, articulate, wonderful people. And they were wanting one type of campaign. And I said, we can do that, but I don't think that's what you want. And I said, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, if I understand your business model, 99% of your business comes from referrals from prestigious architectural firms. Is that accurate? And I think there's only 2 sending you business right now. And you're still making multiple 7 figures. And they said, yes. So if I can get you 5 architectural firms in Bellevue, Seattle, Kirkland, would that double your business? I said, yes. So I said, I'm not creating videos showing off your mansions. I'm creating videos showing off your charm and your ability to articulate complex things in a simple way in a short video. Because I sized up all the people in your target list. These are old money MBA Ivy League people who aren't impressed with mansions because they own one personally. So I created very, very simple videos that were simple in the sense of they didn't have a bunch of graphics or captions, no music, not heavy on branding, more so just making him look like he knew exactly what he was doing. He's my age, about 39 and 40, but was incredibly charming and incredibly intelligent. And that's the thing I wanted to focus on. 3 weeks after we launched his campaign, he secured a $20 million build with a new company. So keep that in mind. You offer a local service, so you want to impact locally. And so think about the type of people that you currently work with, the type of people that you want to work with, and just focus on helping them. And the better that you can become known at helping people and solving those problems, that's the trend. It's you. It's not dance videos and, you know, those other things. So what?
Dance video.
Yes, like I can show you some stuff. I can show you me in helicopters and not simple stuff. Rolls Royces. I can show you all kinds of stuff that I thought made an impact, and it did. Just on the wrong people, because all the people that I was trying to influence weren't impacted by that, because A, they already had those things, and B, they saw right through my BS. Like, you're just trying to impress me, and that's not impressive. And I find that really interesting. I think the biggest, the largest lesson I ever learned was I was invited to a mastermind where everyone there had to have a net worth of $10 million or more. And that was not me. I did well that year, but I definitely was not doing that well. I showed up in a brand new Hugo Boss suit that I spent $2,000 on at Newport Beach like 2 days before, thinking I was gonna come in there owning the place. Everyone else with real money was wearing a dingy shirt, flip-flops, and shorts. And that changed my perspective, because those were the people I was trying to influence. And so, you know, get really clear on who do you want to do business with, and what do they need to see from you. And here's another thing I'll leave you with, and then I'll be done. If you're version 1.0, start thinking about version 2.0. How does this person talk? How does this person walk? How does this person spend their weekends? And I literally changed my life by doing this, you guys. I wrote out on my calendar, if last month was 1.0, and I'm pretty happy with 1.0. And if 2.0 is someone that I'm impressed by, someone I would want to be friends with, someone that I would see as coach, where does that person have lunch at? Who's he having lunch with? How is he treating his girlfriend? Is he walking his dog on a regular basis? And I literally started to set out on my calendar, you're going to walk your dog at this time and create content. You're going to take your girlfriend to this nice restaurant in Bellevue and create content. And in the middle of that, I became that person, and I started to attract higher quality people who weren't asking me how much I charged. It was, how soon can you do this? And so I'm telling you guys, if you stylishly document your life through content and you weave in some marketing stuff so it doesn't look and feel like marketing, it just seems like you're just telling a story. This video marketing stuff works really, really well, especially if you want to get naked. And by naked, I mean, be vulnerable and be yourself. So that being said,
Perfect.
That's nice.
yeah.
So you recommend actually documenting your life?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I failed you.
Everybody's overdoing it, and I have the fear that, okay, I don't wanna spam Facebook or whatever, and I don't wanna be pretentious, but you.
Well, so
Not being pretentious, but no, documenting your life.
don't be selfish about it and try to add value.
Okay.
So if you have something to say that you feel would be a great marketing ad and it's really powerful, one awesome way to do it is to do it as you're walking your dog or as you're at a coffee cafe, because it seems like you're talking to a friend. You want people to see your marketing as not marketing, that you're just adding value. And so if you can arrange your days to where it looks and feels like that, that's going to be super impactful content, especially if you're able to mirror organic content with an ad. Here's my life, here's my life, here's my life. Oh, by the way, I'm amazing at selling real estate. Here's my life, here's me at the gym, here's me at a nice restaurant, here's me at a conference because I'm always learning. And oh, by the way, I'm really good at selling this type of real estate. That works incredibly well. If you're just super heavy on one or the other, it doesn't really work that well. I love your question.
I got a couple of questions.
Yeah, go
but-
ahead, go ahead.
But I'm gonna stay on this topic here.
Okay,
I kind of wish you started that talking about that sooner because that's where I kind of get lost.
okay,
I know I need to do 80% more of me
okay,
and 20% of real estate.
okay.
That's what I've been told.
Okay, so I'll say this really quick. What you just showed me right there, your demeanor
Yes,
and how you are,
yes.
you're very charming.
Thank you.
If you're willing to be that person, like how you were just moving your hands and how you were just acting, if you're willing to be that person on camera, I guarantee you, you will double your business.
And I am like that on camera. Thank you very
Okay.
much. However, going back to- you guys know me.
Know and love you, Lisa.
But going back to the personalization, that's where I'm struggling
Okay.
at, is because I don't know where to, one, I think I have a boring life.
Okay,
One, I come to work, I go home.
okay,
That is me.
Okay.
However, I feel that, like today or yesterday, I wanted to start the Life of Yvonne
Yeah.
type video.
okay,
And I was at the pool at 5 o'clock in the morning and I wanted to do something with, you know,
Yeah.
here at the pool, 5 o'clock. But then it was like, okay, so how do I video that? How do I send it out? Where do I put it? Okay, but it's the day of the life. Okay, so now let me show that I'm driving home from the pool. Okay, now let me show that, you know, heading
Okay.
to the office. Now
Yes,
let me
yes,
show.
yes.
So I'm feeling confused.
What is your intention with those videos?
To show people that I am a regular person, just like them, that they can trust and love.
Okay, so I think that you can do two birds with one stone. You never just want to be showing off your life as if you are a celebrity, as if people care.
You're right. They don't. I understand.
That's not gonna be super effective. But what is very effective is if you can add value while you're showing day in the lifestyle content.
Mhm.
So if you are walking your dog, if you're at a cafe, you could be talking about a problem you just solved, or here's what's happening inside your business.
Mhm.
That's a great way of doing it. Versus just showing that you're doing
So I
stuff.
should be talking in these
Oh,
videos.
yeah, you're not talking in your videos? No, yeah, no. Yeah, no, yeah. You're in business, so use your social media platform as your own personal TV channel
Okay,
and see these videos as segments of your reality show. So you should absolutely be talking because you're the star of your own show.
okay.
So yeah, you are totally missing the ball if you're not talking on camera. People are there not to see that stuff. They're there to see you.
Okay.
And while you're talking, you should be talking about something that matters to them too. Again, you need to reciprocate, not be selfish.
Right.
Add value, give them that value in the shortest chunk of time possible.
Okay.
And I think you had another question?
No.
No,
I do.
okay, go ahead.
Last one, promise. Going back to teleprompts.
Yes,
There are subjects out there. I learn about them.
Uh-huh.
But I don't feel comfortable just getting on camera and being able to articulate,
Mhm.
such as the HELOC.
Okay.
And so then I do create that ChatGPT, create a,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
what to say, da, da, da. So then I do read the teleprompt.
okay,
What are some techniques
Uh-huh.
That I can use
Great.
to help me not use that teleprompt? Is
Awesome.
there some
Awesome.
secrets,
Yeah, yeah,
tips
for
that
sure.
you can share?
for sure. So those videos that you're making using a teleprompter that you don't enjoy making, are they working? Meaning, are people reaching out and say, hey?
Yes.
Yes, it is
Pe-
working.
People are seeing the videos. I didn't realize they were until I started getting calls saying, you know, so tell me more about this.
Oh, okay,
Tell me more about that.
okay.
So I do feel like they, you know, it is making an impact with some people.
Okay, great. Well, if it's working, then I would say keep doing it, just improve upon it. And one way to improve upon it. So if I ever use a teleprompter or just notes, I'll use notes as a trigger.
Yes.
And then I'll stay in my lane in the sense of, there's a lot, so I was a lender for 8 years, by the way. and I was an agent for 3. So I understand real estate very, very well. But I only talk about things that are in my lane, meaning things I understand really, really well, and things that I don't understand so well, I'll touch on if they're relevant. But in most cases, I just want to talk about the things that I really, really understand. So there's a lot of different components, and there's not just one HELOC, right? There's multiple.
Right.
So find one that you understand really well, and then talk about how you solve someone's problem with that particular HELOC. You follow? So it's not necessary for you to explain, it shouldn't be the HELOC channel,
Right.
right? It should be how you were able to solve someone's problem with the HELOC, because the end goal isn't that you know all things HELOC. The end goal should be that the audience sees you as a problem solver, and that you're able to solve problems with that loan type.
Right.
And so always be thinking intention with every video. Why do I want them to see this? So. Good?
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.